It's about to get heavy. I'm talking in your face. Ain't no holding back. Better watch out. Gloves are coming off, baby. Ha! Yeah, that digger needs a throat punch. Jesus, please move on somebody. Lord, he needs some prayer. Bless his heart. You know, nowadays, people care more about themselves and their kingdom than they ever cared about God and His. Can I get an amen? Why don't you step into my shoes, buckle up in my chair, and sit behind my desk for a day? We're about to get started, so grab some popcorn. It's time for Behind the Desk with me, your boy, Pastor J.K. Let's get ready to roll, y'all. But before we get started, give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Woo! Alright, here we go with episode number 2. So, welcome to Behind the Desk with me, your boy, JK. I know that it was a little bit quiet in episode number 1. May have even been a little bit boring because I wasn't as animated as I usually am when it comes to real life. I was recording it around 6 a.m. and the rest of the fam was still asleep. So I was trying to be a little more quiet. I don't have a big studio or anything like that. I'm not recording at the church, my office or anything like that. I'm recording from my home office. So with that being the case, you may hear a child running around, hollering. You may hear the dog's feet clinking on the floor. You may hear cats meowing from time to time. So please just overlook those things if you do hear them, because I'm on a budget. And as you can tell from the background, your boy's a big NASCAR fan. So Dale Jr., Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, if y'all come across this podcast, reach out to me. Would enjoy interviewing any of y'all about faith and racing. My little one is absolutely crazy about Kyle Larson. I'm already getting asked, when am I going to order the Larson Championship raced version, big car as it's called in our house, from the championship race at Phoenix. So somebody tag him in this so maybe he can FaceTime the kiddo and I'll stop getting bugged to death about it. But seriously though, the next 3 episodes are going to be personal experiences that I've been through. They do involve my family as well. I'm not releasing names. Y'all right now starting out, most of y'all are going to know who I am. But I don't know how big the Lord could allow this thing to get. So I'm not going to sit here and give you my wife's name or my kid's name or anything like that. I'm kind of keeping them out of that. They will be in my stories as things have been experienced. But their names really don't matter. And frankly, I'm not going to say names or churches, or I'm not even going to name the state that the church was in for the experiences that I've been through. Granted, all of them have been church experiences from being on staff. So dealing with pastors and associate pastors, dealing with congregational members, issues with stuff that just got blown out of proportion or could have been addressed if I was made aware of something. So, I have come to realize the main issue in churches is communication and the lack of it. That is one of the biggest issues in every church that I have ever worked for, every ministry that I have been a part of, whether it's been a church or whether it's been an outreach ministry or whatever, they are, the communication is the issue. And that's something that's got to be fixed. So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to record them in order so that I can make sure that I'm getting all my details right and I'm not getting ahead of myself or even behind myself. But I'm not going to post them in order. I'm not going to do that because people do enough research. They may figure out what churches I've worked at and they'll be like, oh, well, he did this one first, so it must be that church. This one's second, so that church. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to record them in order and then I'm going to post them or make them available in out of order, so to speak. So first may be third may be second. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to record them all at once and then go through the editing process. So yeah, for the next 3 episodes, same shirt, same hat, same everything. So don't think that I don't have a change of clothes. It's just they're all going to be recorded at one time. And who knows, this is going to be intense. It's going to be emotional at times. So I may have to pause the recording to regroup and then start it back up. So there may be a time where you see me here, but then all of a sudden, shoot, I teleported over to this side or something like that. Nothing's wrong with your computer. I had to stop, regroup, gather my thoughts, and then come back. But I'm going to try to keep these from being what some people may call shot interviews. I just want to share what I've been through. All right. And I want it to help people understand me better. And hopefully it will help people see what goes on that maybe they had no idea are things that pastors, Christian artists, coaches of faith, etc. go through. Plus, I want the people, or maybe even just the one person that's listening or watching who's been hurt by the church or heard bad things about the church to know that even pastors go through a bunch of junk too. So we can relate to those who have been through church hurt. Here's a good sermon title. Christians are supposed to win souls for heaven, not put people through hell. That'll preach. Amen? Either amen or oh me, one of the two. So if you, during the next 3 episodes, if you think I'm talking about you, that's not my goal. If you feel convicted, that's the Lord. That's not me. I don't have any convicting power. But like I said, I'm not saying names or anything like that. Places, states, nothing. So if you feel, oh crap, maybe I put him through that, that's between you and the Lord. All's forgiven with everyone that's put me through all of this junk that I've been through. So, let's just go ahead and get started with these horrible experiences. But keep in mind, even though they were horrible experiences, they were also learning experiences for me. You have to find the positive in every single negative. This church is the smallest that I have ever served at. Had some really great talent for a smaller church as far as like the worship band goes, volunteers. They were great. It was a different area for sure. If you weren't from there, it was truly a struggle to gain acceptance. And the thing is, you usually have that first year as a honeymoon period, and that's at any job, ministry or not. You have that first year to be the new guy or new girl or whatever. There seems to be more of a grace period while you're learning the lay of the land, learning how things go. You can get by with a few more mistakes or issues, but once that honeymoon period is over, teeth and clause come out, warranted or not. But at the same time, churches will fool you. Everything may look nice on the outside. It's like they tell everyone to be on their best behavior. And I've experienced all kinds of different types of courtships when it comes to churches. I don't know why. That's just what they would call it a lot of times whenever you were in the process of getting to know each other. There was some that would have you come down and just do like a meet and greet and have a meal and then do a Q&A or something. There's other ones that'll have you spend like a whole week with them, getting to know them. Then there's others that you'll teach the youth at the children's Sunday school, or maybe you teach an adult Sunday school, whatever position you're going for, and then you preach for them that morning. Let's see. Then there's also the meeting at a sit-down restaurant like an Applebee's or like a Texas Roadhouse, something like that. And you got the pastor and the head deacon or just a deacon and the head of the personnel committee, and you kind of do like a little pre-interview. I went through one of those one time, and the pastor scared me to death. He told me all the different things that I would probably face, and when I left that meeting, I was like, man, I don't want to go into ministry. I'm scared to death now. And when the head of personnel committee called me back, I told him that. He said, well, what can we do different next time? I said, don't take a senior pastor with you. I said, dude, scared the daylights out of me. And if there were any regrets that I've had in ministry, where if I could there are regrets that I've had, and I would do things a lot differently in different situations. Trust me, there's a lot of those. But if there was ever one that I could redo and build a time machine, it would be that one. I would go back in time, because I refused to even go down for the interview. I'll tell you where that one was. It was Matthews, North Carolina. I would go back and I would go to that church and at least go through the interview process, because every single thing that pastor warned me about to a T has happened in my ministry. Dude knew what he was talking about, and I regretfully turned to that interview down, and I feel like I would have learned so much under that pastor. But yeah, and plus Matthews, North Carolina is an absolutely beautiful area. If you ever get a chance, go check it out. You got Charlotte there, NASCAR USA kind of thing, Hall of Fame, all that stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty biased towards Charlotte and the North Carolina area right around there. But yeah, I regret that. So, but I'm trying my best, to stay on topic a little bit better. But don't get me wrong, issues happen during the honeymoon period too, but people will take their time before pouncing. All right, now there were some amazing people that I loved and still do love from that church. Still in contact with some of them. It's like birthday text or just how you doing or how's the family kind of thing. So church wise, it was pretty good, except for like a few people that got mad at me for being honest about things. And who would have ever thought that being honest would offend people? Woo! Ugh. They get mad and cause a big stink over made up lies. Now, granted, whenever you're a teenager, things may be a little bit different, but you get embarrassed for being asked to pay attention, and you get embarrassed in front of some of your friends. When you're a youth or children's pastor, you are always asking them to quiet down and or pay attention. So give me a break. Your kid gets offended because he gets called down in front of his friends for being a distraction during youth, and you're going to get offended and want to get mad at me, or because I'm honest about a situation, you will want to come and fight me. Seriously, give me a break. Whatever. Anyways, pastor at this church was in and out, not much guidance. Again, so two of my experiences have been with, you've heard of absentee dads. Well, I've had two experiences with absentee pastors. No visitations, out playing golf, out fishing, out hunting, out running around with buddies, prepping for sermon for TV, whatever. All these different lists of reasons in their minds are legit reasons, but yet they don't take the time to communicate with me to see if I need anything, if I need their help, if I want their help, those kind of things. The dude got mad at me and didn't talk to me for weeks at a time. I would later find out the reason, when it's basically too late to fix it or apologize for it or do whatever needed to be done to rectify the situation. If I do something wrong, tell me so I can fix it. I'll keep making the same mistake if I don't know that it's a mistake in your eyes or whoever's eyes are ticked off at me for it. Come on, you got to let somebody know something. So you can't go weeks without talking to your staff. That is a hostile environment. That is an uncomfortable, maybe not hostile, but it's a very uncomfortable situation when you are sitting in your office and your boss and pastor literally walks by you each day when he actually was in the office and doesn't say a word, just goes in there. And I even started a thing where it's like, I'm not just going to say my love, I'm going to show my love. So I would walk in and hug every single person in the office that was in there and just, hey, just want you to know I love you. Give them a hug, my morning hug. I was doing that, trying to connect. But again, I'm an outsider, not from this area, not being accepted. You got a pastor that when he gets all PO'd at you, won't talk to you, won't let you know what situations are going on. It's just not good. And then you add in to this this whole scenario of a church that does fundraisers. All right, so I know a lot of times the F word is a cuss word in churches, and I'm not talking like the F word you probably just thought of. I'm talking about fundraisers. Some churches, you better not even use that word when you're inside under their roof, inside their doors. Other churches, it's not a bad thing. Other churches thrive on it. So, along with this situation of never knowing if I'm on good terms with a pastor or not, when we would talk, I was constantly reminded about the fact that the church does fundraisers and that these kids don't pay for camp. They raise enough money to do it. So we come up with some pretty creative ways to try to raise some money and make sure that we get these kids camp paid for, since that's what they do. That's their tradition, is they've paid for the kids' camps and all this stuff. They actually have to work it off with us. You're going to have to earn it, so you're going to have to work it. And I'm not trying to brag, but we had like 7 kids completely pay for their camp, and they had enough extra from them that we were able to use that to help pay towards other kids' camp. I think the most any kid paid was like $110, and most of that was their deposit that everyone had to pay. But some of the other ones, man, they earned enough money to pretty much get money back for their deposits. It was crazy. But there's that pressure added of, I've got to do this, I've got to live up to this. And what really, really got up in my craw was when something wouldn't work out. Maybe a fundraiser didn't work out. I was told, well, I knew that was going to fail. Dude, why in the Sam Hill did you not tell me that then? If you knew that wasn't going to work in your culture in this area, then you should have told me before I put in the time and the effort for something that was going to fail. Now, whether or not he actually knew he was going to fail, it was going to fail, I don't know. He may have just been saying that to make himself look big. I have no clue. But, come on. What kind of smart aleck jerk jackleg you gotta be to say, look, man, I knew that was going to fail. I knew you weren't going to succeed in that. Come on, man. That is not pastor material. So if you're listening and you've had a pastor be that way towards you, not all of us are like that. Not all of us are jerks or jacklegs or whatever you want to throw in there. Tim Hawkins, son of a biscuit eater. We're not all like that. So please don't hold that against us. But in my experience, I'm just like, wow, that was a throat punch. So man, the whole fundraiser thing was just a pain. And plus you factor in that other ministries were doing fundraisers, and then you and the other director of that ministry get called in and say, look, y'all are doing too many fundraisers. You told us we got to do them, and now you're telling us I'm sick and tired of having to announce them every single Sunday, every month we're doing something. Okay, then don't complain of us if the kids don't have the money for either one of their camps. So that was two of the issues, and then you factor in that there is a self-picked group of advisors. And because I even had a youth bring it up to me about, well, who votes on them? I'm like, nobody does. Well, really? I'm like, yeah, this is the same youth that had caused trouble with another situation, had gotten mad. I basically inherited a social group of around, I don't know, about 55, 60 students, and was able to transition to an actual youth group. Granted, we dropped down to like 15, 20 kids. But before I departed from there, we actually had 60 on a couple nights. So we were back up to an average of 50 to 55 with the occasional 60. So that's not me. That's the Lord. That's absolutely the Lord growing it back up like that. But when you have a youth that has gotten mad because it's not a social club but still sticks around and comes up to you and asks you who votes on that pastoral council, if you want to call it that, they realize that it's a dictatorship, and that's what it is. That's what it boils down to. It is a dictatorship with a bunch of yes men. So there's that situation too. I'm fighting an uphill battle. I'm not invited to any of those meetings. I'm on staff. Why am I not invited to any of those meetings? Do those guys get to counsel me too? Do I not get that counsel and that help and that support? Guess not, but oh well. Then you factor in that your wife is on staff as far as helping with things around the church. And is told basically you only work like 2 days a week, and you can pick any 2 days a week that you want to, as long as it's after Sunday service and Wednesday service. So you got to do whatever it is after Sunday night service, Sunday morning service till before Wednesday night service, and then after Wednesday night service, and you got to do whatever it is you need to do between Thursday and Sunday morning. You're told you can do it whatever days you want to, whenever, as long as it's done. Then after being told that, picking the time that she wanted to do it and that worked good for her, is told, no, that ain't working. You're going to have to do it at these times. And one of them was a Saturday. And it's just like, really? Saturday's my day off too. We want to go do something. We may want to go run around. We may want to go out of town Friday evening and come back Saturday night, do a day trip somewhere, whatever. Really? As long as it gets done before Sunday and before Wednesday, what does it really matter? That's what you were told to begin with. And then you get told something else. Dictatorship. Alright, so then my wife decides, okay, we're done. I don't want both incomes coming from there. So I'll leave and I will go do something else. They're cool with that until she gets a job outside the church. And then it's like, okay, Why is she working outside the house? She was on staff and she wasn't doing what you wanted her to do, so she gets fussed at. Said, okay, well, if I can't do what I was told I could do, then I can go get a job somewhere else. But then that may take her away from a Wednesday night or a Sunday morning, depending. I mean, you can tell a secular employee when you need off, but there's no guarantee you're going to get it. Don't get mad when she gets a job outside the home, because again, you can't control everything that other people do. So it's like I felt like we were trying to be under control and we're constantly under surveillance. And then and the other thing about the whole control thing is I got in trouble once for not coming to an event. We had just gotten back from summer camp. And mind you, I'm on camp staff. So I'm helping with the planning, I'm helping execute things. I'm over a group. We come back, we're tired, we go to sleep. And then the next morning at like the butt crack of dawn, they decide they were having this event, and that's when it needed to be done, was that early in the morning. And then you're going to have to, I need to correct myself. We actually came back the day of the event, and I didn't come over to the meal part of it. I've just spent, the last 5 days at camp. Pastor came home early to prep for Sunday service, so he wasn't there the last couple nights. So it's just, it's not a good situation. But I didn't understand why myself and my wife, who is not on staff anymore, are getting fussed at. Well, it doesn't matter if she was on staff or not. Still, she's my wife. She's not paid by the church or anything like that. So she doesn't have to come to things. That's what I don't understand about churches, about, pastors' spouses, about them expecting them to be at everything. I know that our spouses are our support system and they need to be there to help and support us. But the whole expecting thing, and if you don't, you're going to get in trouble. No, that crap don't fly with me. It does not. When I am a senior pastor, I will not ever expect my staff's spouses to have to be. I'm going to want them to want to be there and want to be involved. But if they don't feel good, they got a headache, they got something else planned, I'm not going to get mad at them. But the kicker in all this is you don't show up to any of my events. Any event that I planned, you don't show up to. But then you're going to get mad and fuss at me because I don't show up to all of those events. Look, when you're the children's pastor or the youth pastor, you're at all the children or all the youth events. You make it to the other events that you can. Now, granted, I understand that there are meetings that you need to be at, business meetings, deacons meetings, things like that. But if I have done a children's event this Saturday, a youth event next Saturday, and then the Saturday after that you're having something, don't expect me to be there. I mean, you can't make it mandatory. Well, you shouldn't. They can, but you shouldn't make it mandatory. But I shouldn't get chewed out because I just got back from camp and I'm tired and I don't come to an event. Yeah, that just aggravated the daylights out of me. And then you plan a big event. You know that it's going to be expensive. You get the okay for it. And trust me, if we would have made it free, I don't know how many people would have showed up. If we would have charged $10, I don't know how many people would have showed up. We're thinking $5, that'll help pay, plus concessions. Made enough money to pay for the stage. We didn't make enough money to pay for the act. But you know what? 13 souls got saved at this event. 13 souls. And then you're going to complain because we didn't make our money back? look, we made enough money to pay for the stage. All right, who cares if we don't make enough money to pay for the act? If one person had gotten saved, it would have all been worth it. All the time, effort, advertisement, helping the person unload and load back up after it's done. And this person meant a great deal to me. This person is a personal friend. So it was a big event. And even someone that was against it was there tapping their foot and getting into it and buying not one but two hats and stuff like that. I mean, come on. And people even said this guy's good. But yet you're going to complain because we only made enough money back to pay for the stage. It was in the budget. I had it in the budget to do it. 13 people got saved. It's worth it, even if we didn't make enough money for the stage to have gotten paid back. And then, the one of the final straws ended up being that a teen complained after laughing and joking about whatever it was that had made them mad with me, and I had no idea. I had no idea that it had upset them. They didn't say anything to me. It wasn't that big of a deal in my mind because we laughed about it. I joked, I winked with them and everything. Now, I didn't say nothing out of the way. I just, didn't use any bad language or nothing like that. It was just a little joke, kind of like an inside joke. Winked at them, haha, it's all funny. We're laughing, we're playing, all that stuff afterwards. And then, I mean, it was, almost, it was 3 weeks, going on almost 4 weeks of not talking to me. And I decided, that's it. I'm moving out of this situation. I am getting sick to my stomach. I hate coming into the office. When I would see that he was in, I would purposely wait until he went home for lunch. And then I would go into the office because I knew he wasn't coming back after lunch. So I was like, I'm done. So I lined up an interview somewhere else, and I wanted to be honest about it because all I had heard was how horrible the previous guy was, and that he went out and got a job before he ever let them know that he had even had an interview, and supposedly he had multiple interviews. Supposedly he had scheduled a vacation, and on his vacation interviewed while he was on vacation. But all I hear was how horrible this previous guy was. And while I was there, the pastor even cost that guy a job because of a bad reference. So I was just like, wow, that's pretty bad. Cost a guy a job, get a cease and desist letter. But it's funny how we develop opinions about somebody when we've never heard their side of the story. Because we only hear that person's side. We only hear the person that we're connected with. We only hear their side. We don't hear the other side. And I was basically told to not like or have contact with the guys that were before me because they were bad people. But in at least one of those situations, it was not true. What I was getting to with this about the previous guy is that he was in the same situation as I was in. I let the pastor know that I had an interview, and he tells me he was going to let me go that day. Supposedly the last guy did that too. He comes in, he tells me he's going to go, and he's like, well, we need to have a meeting tomorrow. Well, I can save you that meeting. I'm leaving. I'm going somewhere else. Well, we were going to let you go tomorrow, kind of thing. It's like, really? But so I'm like, all right, being honest with you, don't want to do what the last guy did. Don't want us to, not like each other, leave on bad terms, kind of thing. So I have an interview lined up. Well, we were going to let you go today. Really? When? Sometime after lunch. I look up at the clock. I'm like, it's 11:30. When were you going to tell me that we were going to have this meeting? Well, I got to call the deacon to make sure he can come. If the deacon wasn't already coming and you don't have it lined up, then what? It made no sense. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, are you going home for lunch? Yeah. Well, just stay home the rest of the day and I'll let you know when to come back. Well, trust me, I'm planning on staying home the rest of the day. I don't plan on coming back. if you're going to pull this on me. So I go home, I wait to get the text message, and it's not even the guy that he said. It's a totally different dude. Totally different dude. So that right there, red flag. This was not planned. There was no "I'm letting you go" kind of thing. It was ridiculous because, like I said, we were already going on almost a month without talking, and not by any lack of effort on my part. So I go, and this basically is an ambush, but it didn't matter because I was already going to, basically already had the other position at this point. And it was just going to be one of those formalities where you go, you preach, they vote that day, whether or not you're going or not going to this place, and then you fly back. So, and it's just, it was a mess. So then it comes time to have like this last meeting, and I have no idea why we needed to have it, but I look outside, there's that same person's vehicle. I'm like, nope, ambush, not again, not doing this. Whatever, tries to play it off. No, wasn't going to do that. I love you, man. And I'm just like, it's the first time I've heard that the entire time I've been down here. How do you expect me to believe that? But, just totally treated me like I was, not even worthy to tie his shoes kind of thing. I mean, it was like, and I come in here thinking, this is going to be like a father-son kind of deal. I'm hours away from my family. Y'all are going to be my family kind of thing. So what did I learn through all that is don't treat your staff, one, like dogs, and two, you don't treat them like they don't belong. Outsiders or not, you make them feel accepted. Because if I have a church in, I don't know, let's just say I was talking about Charlotte earlier. Say I'm the senior pastor of a church just outside of Charlotte, and I'm bringing in a guy from Florida. Dude's going to be hours away from his family, hours away from his friends. I'm going to make him feel like he belongs. Like we said growing up, my dad said it a lot, going to treat him so many ways, he's going to have to like one of them. That's just a country thing. Y'all can laugh if you want to. But, you're going to treat him nice. You're going to make sure. And yes, I get that honeymoon period where you're getting to know each other, and there's going to be times where you're frustrated, but you got to work through those things. And, man, this was another thing. There was a plaque on the wall that had everybody that had served there as, whatever role that they were in. And, like I said, outsider or not, you make them feel accepted. And you do not tell them, oh, the average time of service for their position is 2.5 years. So now you're on borrowed time. Come on, man. You don't do that stuff. All right. How in the world are you going to lead a church when you're talking to people like that? That's a bunch of cock and bull. I'm just end of it. Done. Whatever. So sorry, getting a little frustrated going through all this stuff again. So I do apologize. But hey, that's the end of it. I'm done with that one. Like I said, deep down, I know that they're human, that pastors make mistakes. So again, it's just like, it's a learning experience. It's part of it. You learn that you don't treat your staff bad. You make sure that they know that you love them. Everybody, you need to be that way with everybody. If you love somebody, you need to tell them. You never know. Today may be the last day that you live, and may be the last day that they live. The Lord could come back in the middle of this. We never know. So tell your loved ones you love them. Tell your friends you love them. My buddies and I, every time we leave, we say, "Hey man, be careful. I love you." We're a bunch of guys. We still tell each other, "Be careful. Love you, man." Be honest. Be open with people. If you have an issue, go to them, get the issue fixed, and then be done with it. Move on. Forgiveness. Bam. If we can't forgive each other, then how do we expect to get any forgiveness from God? Kind of makes sense, right? If we're supposed to be Christians and live Christ-like, we got to forgive. So if you're listening to this or you're watching this and you've been hurt by the church, look, come find a pastor. You can reach out to me on social media, whatever you want to, email, whatever. I make all that stuff available to you. It's btdwithjk@gmail.com. Look it up on Facebook. Reach out to me on Instagram. Everything is either BTD with JK or Behind the Desk with JK. Some form or fashion of that. Reach out to me and talk to me. Let me help you forgive whoever's hurt you. Let me help you work through that. If I've made you mad, if I've ticked you off, come to me. Let's work through that. If you've made me mad, I'm going to work through it with you. All right? So just come find somebody, because let us help you. All right. So you know what? My normal thing. Take care. God bless. Thank you again for tuning in. I love you, but Jesus loves you more.